Good morning, gents. Now, before I get on to anything at all, if you're watching this live, comment live. If you're watching this as a replay, comment replay. The reason why we ask you to do this is because it allows me to cater my content much, much better to you, depending on whether you're watching it live or whether you're watching it as a replay. Now, if you want more energy, do not make this mistake that so many people around the world do every single day. It is probably the most common mistake, right? This mistake is taking stimulants to get more energy. So what ends up happening is we have a shitty night's sleep, or we wake up feeling tired, or we wake up feeling lethargic, like we just need to have more energy. What do we reach for? We go straight away for a coffee. A coffee, an iced coffee, a no-dose, something which is going to keep us awake and perk us up and give us energy. Whenever we have coffee, whenever we have anything which contains caffeine or a stimulant, it's not real energy. It's what I call false energy. The reason why I call it false energy is because it's like running on fumes. Having caffeine and stimulants creates increases the hormones adrenaline and cortisol. And what these two things do is these push the body into a stressed out state. Right? It elevates our heart rate. It puts us into what I call the sympathetic nervous system, or the fight or flight nervous system. Now, when we have this, we feel good. I used to love coffee. I'd smash 4 or 5 coffees a day. And I was an espresso drinker, right? I would smash them because I love the taste and I love the way that it made me feel. So when we drink coffee, we get this little reward, this little dopamine buzz as well. It's just like taking cocaine. Same sort of thing. You feel good when you're taking it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's good for you. And the reason why I'm not a fan of this is because when we start getting pushed into this fight or flight nervous system, because remember, the nervous system is king. If you haven't seen my training on the nervous system, comment nervous system down below, right? The nervous system is king. You need to remember that whenever we get pushed into fight or flight and we get stuck there, it starts having this massive, what I call a hormonal cascade. Right? It's like tipping all these dominoes over, where we increase adrenaline, we increase cortisol, the two stress hormones. So adrenaline topples cortisol. Cortisol lowers your testosterone. Lower testosterone means you'll lose your feelings of masculinity and your internal, like, good energy, right? The good, healthy energy, right? And it starts having this cascade where it just starts making our life more and more difficult. But you know the worst part about all of this? Is that the caffeine sits in your system because it has a half-life of somewhere between 6 and 10 hours. And what this means is that you take your caffeine at, say, 6 a.m. You have your coffee in the morning on the way to work. You go smash a double shot and you feel good until about when? About 2 o'clock or so? Guess what happens to be precisely between 6 and 10 hours after 6 in the morning, right? 2 o'clock. 2, 3, 4. That's why you see so many people getting 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock itis. Where you just want to have a nap, you're just exhausted from the day and you can't think clearly, you don't have good energy, you're just buggered, right? It's because the caffeine's run out. You've been running on fumes from 6 until 2, and then as soon as you run out of fumes and you run out of adrenaline, then your body's got nothing left and you've got to go back to sleep, right? It's not a very productive way to be. Now, the worst part about this is that not only, Nala, settle, it's okay, they're just running. Our dog's a little bit defensive. And the worst part about this is that at night, your sleep is then impeded by the caffeine. Because with a half-life, it means that if you take 100 milligrams of caffeine at 6 o'clock, that means that 6 to 10 hours later, 50 milligrams is still left. And then 6 to 10 hours after that, 25 milligrams is still left, and 6 to 10 hours after that, 12.5 milligrams. So every 6 to 10 hours, depending on the person, you lose 50% of it, but you still keep 50%. So this is why when we start drinking more coffee, we stop sleeping as well, because we've got more caffeine going, because it's still activating our nervous system. We've still got the adrenaline going, we've still got the cortisol going. And adrenaline and cortisol are counteractive to sleep. They make us sleep poorer. So you sleep less. You get less deep sleep, you get less REM sleep, and you wake up in the morning feeling tired, so what do? Go reach for a coffee. You have another coffee, right? And then you repeat the cycle over again. Get sleepy between 2 to 4. Now maybe you're so sleepy because you've had this double whammy of caffeine from 2 days in a row. Maybe you go and have another caffeine and another coffee, right? You go smash another double shot. And then that caffeine's in you for another 6 to 10 hours, which reduces your sleep even further, which gives you more adrenaline, gives you more cortisol, gives you less testosterone, makes you feel crappy, right? Does all those things. And it continues putting you on this downward spiral, which makes you more tired and more exhausted, requiring more and more caffeine, just like a heroin addict. Exactly the same. People who are hooked on caffeine are drug addicts. It's the same thing. I know that's a really confronting thing to say, but it's true. You hate feeling good if you drink caffeine. You hate feeling good if you drink coffee. You hate having good energy if you do this, because you guys, we know that this stuff is not good for our nervous system, and it's not good for good, clean, healthy energy. Now, if you want to learn more about how the nervous system works, just comment nervous system down below. We've got a stack of trainings on it. There's one in particular you need to see, which is called the hierarchy of health. It's an absolute game changer for you guys. If you haven't seen the hierarchy of health yet, comment hierarchy of health down below. Oh, and also make sure to comment live if you're watching this live, replay if you're watching this as a replay. On that note, guys, I'll leave you to it. Have an amazing day. If you want access to that training, comment nervous system down below. See you soon.